So the next section is called Who Do You Think You Are? Now really, I need you to think who you actually are. There's kind of like two arguments in this, so I need you to pay a little bit of attention because one kind of leads into the other. If I were to turn around to any of you in this room, you would all tell me that your business is great. Your business is fantastic. If I met you at a networking event, you would stand up, you would do your 60 seconds or your 40 seconds or even your 10-minute presentation, depending on which networking event you go to. And you would tell everybody, yeah, I am the bee's knees. I am the Bobby Big Bollocks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would. Of course you would. Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Honestly, who wouldn't? But the thing is that actually, is your business as good as you think it is? See, every single person in this room and every single person watching this video are very proud people. And quite right. You should be proud. You have started something that a majority of people in this country just don't want to do. They're quite happy being employed, or they're quite happy not working, or whatever. But you have taken a step which means that you should be proud, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into what you're doing. But this is where I come in, because I tend to look at, or help you look at your business from a different perspective. Is your business as good as you think it is? And that's a hard question to answer, especially if you've got employees. Now, businesses with employees struggle the most, because you could have the business owner wandering around telling everybody that their business is fantastic, when 99% of the time their employees are letting themselves down. And this doesn't just mean small business, by the way. It happens right up to the very top. You see, small business actually does have an advantage in that it's more nimble. If you come up with a decision today, you could potentially implement it by tonight, by tomorrow, whenever. If you work at a big business and you come up with a brand new brainstorming idea, you have to go through so many levels of people, so many ridiculous meetings, that eventually it might happen in about 3, 4, 6 months' time. You have an advantage. But do your employees share the brilliance of your business? Or do they just rock up, do what they need to do, go home again? And in some cases, they rock up and don't do what they need to do. This happens a lot in the service industry. You might have the best pub landlord in the world running a particular pub. But guess what? When you get that rubbish, that crap bit of service from the barmaid, from the waiter, from the chef who's gone and burnt all your food, it doesn't matter how good you are as a landlord or as a business owner, you remember the bad service. So do your employees, do your friends, do your family share with you the vision that you have for your business? And then you start looking at your customers. You see, we are now living in a society where, for whatever reason, we are all glued to our phones, we are all glued to tablets, we are all glued to our computers. And we base our opinions on what we see online. If you ever see a business that is just 100% 5-star rated, be worried, because nobody's that perfect. But whenever we get a testimonial, we get people to put it up on our Facebook pages, on social media, on our website. Can I have your testimonial? Great stuff, thanks very much. I had brilliant service. Wow, this is fantastic. But I want to tell you the tale of some sellotape. And it's quite a powerful tale. I walked into a stationer's a few weeks ago and I needed some sellotape. So I went and bought sellotape. There was lots of sellotape, but I bought some sellotape and I picked up the sellotape and I went over to the cashier's desk. And he was a very nice guy. At the end, he gave me my receipt, which had a little card on it. And on this card, it said, you have the chance to win £1,000. Wow, £1,000. I thought, oh, that's all right. What have I got to do? I have to tell the company via a website about my experience of me buying some sellotape. Now, The cynic in me could go, yeah, okay, I'm in with £1,000. Thanks very much. Cheers. I'll give them a great review. Yeah, it was lovely, blah, 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 blah. Bing, ching, job done. But I then asked the cashier, I said, how many people do this? And he said, not many, which surprised me because there's £1,000 on offer. But as I left, it started turning over in my mind. You see, these customer service things are set up in general by somebody in the marketing department. And in marketing, good news is fucking brilliant news. All they ever want to hear is the good news. All they ever want to show people is the great side of the business, is the fantastic side of the business. So if it took 10 people to walk into that store on that particular day to buy one roll of sellotape, and I was that person, what happened to the other 9? What happened to the other 9 people who went in and saw the same display of sellotape that I did and walk away and choose not to buy it? Where did they go? Why didn't they buy it? Was the service rubbish? Did somebody go up to the cashier's desk and there was no cashier there? I don't know. We'll never find out because we're too busy patting ourselves on the back, telling ourselves how brilliant we are rather than taking a physical step back and finding out how good we really are. Because I would suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the marketing gold for that business is in the other 9 people that chose not to buy the sellotape on that day. Now, I've obviously come up with a figure of 10 people. I don't know. But how many people come to your businesses? How many people come to your websites and decide, nah, you're all right, thanks very much? How many people take poor reviews seriously? And by seriously, I mean pick the damn phone up and find out what went wrong. Because you've all got visions and you've all got goals for your business. So surely it makes sense that actually if something has fallen down, if something's not right, for you to achieve that vision and goal, you have to learn from it. But we choose not to. So how many people are going to go back and are going to pick up the phone and find out why people aren't buying from them? How many people are going to pick up the phone and actually understand a customer's complaint? Because from that, you will work out how good you really are. And so I want to do a little test with you. And it's a very, very simple test. It's a little bit of fun. So up on the screen there, I've gone and put a little diagram. There is 2 lines like that. Strong and weak, positive and negative. And this is about looking at your brand. This is about looking at where you think you are. And then asking some genuine people where they think you are. So I'm going to give you a really good example. Let's look at North Korea. North Korea PLC. There you are. I've just made them a business. They kind of are in an odd way. Would you say that people's opinions of North Korea are strong or weak? Weak being 0, strong being 10. 6, 8, 10, yeah, okay, 9, okay, right. I would say you're correct. I would say that actually people's opinions of North Korea is very, very strong. Now, this is where the fun starts. Is it a positive opinion or a negative opinion? A negative one. Negative. Everybody agrees negative? Okay, it's negative. So actually, North Korea, it's kind of over here. Yeah? It's a strong negative one. We're all absolutely bricking it because we have no idea what's going to happen. Let's flip it. Let's make South Korea into a business. Now, where does South Korea sit on the strong to the weak? Weak. Weak. Nah. Yeah, nah. Yes, nah. Yeah, not a lot of people really kind of know about it, do they? Okay. So it's kind of in this sort of area here. Below a 5 and not quite a 0. Okay? But what we do know about South Korea, would you say it's a positive or a negative? It's positive. It's positive. It's positive. Okay, so it's positive. Is it a 10 though? Where would you think that would sit between 5 and 10? Right, okay, so we're talking about a 7. Right, okay. So really, we're kind of talking about South Korea being sort of about here, which is really different to where you've got North Korea over there, a strong negative. We've got South Korea as a weak positive. Now start looking at some major brands. Let's take a look at McDonald's. Now this one's quite interesting because it depends on what side of the fence you sit at. If there are any vegans in the room, you're probably all going to go, it's very, very negative and I'm very, very strong about it. But you know what? If you're not a vegan, that's just my own opinion, by the way. But if you're not a vegan, what you'll actually find is that at sort of like 1 o'clock in the morning when you've had a few beers, McDonald's is brilliant because it's open 24 hours. So let's just try and take a look at it at the brand as a business. Let's not get into the politics of the food. So where would you say McDonald's is? Is it a strong brand or is it a weak brand? It's a strong brand. Would you say it's more positive than it is negative? Absolutely. So McDonald's kind of sits about here at about an 8 and an 8, I would suggest. So let's start looking at Toys R Us. Toys R Us are a great example of once brilliant business that unfortunately has fallen apart. If you go back to the 80s, in fact, let's all go back, time travel back to the 1980s when we were all kids, where would you say Toys R Us was? Toys R Us is a strong positive. Hell yeah. Because honestly, about 3-4 weeks up before Christmas, you used to get the little brochure. It used to come through the post. It was fantastic. And as kids, it was great stuff. Superb. But obviously in the last few months, it's gone bump. So where would you rate Toys R Us now? Weak. Because people go and purchase their toys elsewhere. It was still kind of positive because we've all got our heyday. We've all remember those trips to go and see them. So again, were they viewing themselves as that? Or were they too busy running around, remembering the 80s and going, we're a strong positive, we are a force for good. Fortunately, our tills are empty. Pointless. So I'd like you to do this with your competitors. Genuinely, I'd like you to go and research your competitors. Have they got a weak brand? Or is it a strong one? Is it negative or is it positive? And then I'd like you to ask your customers, your existing clients, friends who don't mind shooting from the hip, people that work in your niche, in your industry, if you are brave enough. And trust me, there's a lot of this stuff that you have to be brave to do. Otherwise, you're never going to move forward because you're just deluding yourself. You want to find out the truth. And by finding out the truth, that's when you can step forward and make changes. Where are you on this scale? Is your business classed as a strong brand or a weak brand? Is it negative or is it positive? And then do 2. Because I'm hoping that the people in this room are not always going to be a small business. You can be a medium business. You can be a national business. There's nothing stopping you from that. Especially if you have people dotted all over the country that are doing jobs for you. You, my friend, are no longer a small business. You're a national business. You're almost like a franchise. So what do people think of your business in different areas? So have a look at it locally. Then have a look at it nationally. If you have a direct comparison nationally, I suggest you run yourself against them. Remember, you're more nimble. There are things that you can change so quickly. It's great. But then run yourself against your local competitors because you should be aiming to dominate locally before going on any further. Are we good? Are we good? Okay, let's move on.